And I always knew I was going to be an artist. But when I first picked up a camera when I was 17, I loved the immediacy of it. And the first roll of film, all my friends were naked in my dormitory at my high school. They were all dancers, ballet dancers. And there wasn't erotic at all. They were all in these, I put them in Renaissance poses. And I love the collaborative aspect of it, but also the solo part of it too, being in the darkroom or being alone with your images, editing them, conceptualizing them, drawing them out before you did the photographs. So there's this part of it that's very collaborative and like a big event, or circus, my shoots sometimes. And then there's this solo aspect. So I love it. I love both parts of that. In the 80s, when I was showing galleries, you could not do commercial work. And not only did I do commercial work, but I sort of blew up in that world. I blew up and I kind of dropped this bomb, I wanted to. I set out to do that. I wanted my pictures to stand out in the magazines. I wanted to make my pictures look different from everyone else's. Everyone's doing black and white or grunge, and Bruce Weber and Herb Ritts and Peter Lindbergh. It was this very, that type of also, and music and everything was very dark, and grunge was happening, and my pictures at that time were like super saturated color. I wanted to do the opposite. I wanted, working for The Face, working for these British magazine details, I wanted to explode, and have my work stand out. So I had this big name in that world. So I never thought that the gallery world, or the world of contemporary art, would accept me back. Because in the 80s, you could never do both. It was a very strong line between a commercial artist and a fine artist. So when I started working for magazines, I really felt that I'd burnt that bridge. I never thought about style or anything like that. I think it's just what I'm attracted to, that will work its way into the photograph. And because I'm so involved with every step of making it, from the concept to really the building of things or the painting of things and the creating of things, it just gets there. The vividness works its way into the photographs, just sort of because it's what I'm attracted to. I'm really into clarity, not only of the image itself and having the image almost three-dimensional, with clarity, without grain, without digital breakup, but I think in a very analog way, because that's where I grew up. I just want to communicate, and for me it's super important I don't feel like a picture's finished until someone's connecting with it, or that's the goal, and then it's finished, that you're touching somebody with that photo. I just created these monuments to the Industrial Revolution, but although they're miniatures. I was in Maui and this image popped in my head of this little glowing temple, and how it was the first part of that was gas stations, and seeing this little gas station glowing in the jungle. I could see it really clearly. And then I just had to go make it, and as I made it, then I started understanding what I was doing. The gas station is the one thing we all have in common. We have all these different religions and different classes and different languages and all these things that we separate ourselves with. But the one thing we do is we worship at the gas station. And then that led into the refineries or the landscape series. The Industrial Revolution was the most impactful event that has occurred in human history, and maybe one of the great events in the Earth's history. But everything came from the Industrial Revolution, the fact that we're here. Also, as a kid, seeing those refineries at night, thought, wow, it's beautiful. Then you're told, no, they're bad. But it's beautiful. It looks like the Wizard of Oz. No, they're bad. They pollute. And you're like, it's confusing because you're in a car and you're a consumer and you're using that stuff. So, was it bad or good? And that's the question, the paradox. I didn't want to just make architectural models of these refineries and gas stations. I wanted to use the disposable, invisible stuff, you know. We see something in a store we want to buy, and it comes wrapped up and that's invisible because that's just the thing you have to rip through, which are all from plastics, and so are part of what these refineries are pumping out. I wanted them to look like as much like refineries as I could, so then from a distance you would think, oh, is that Photoshop or is that a refinery? What's going on there? And then you get closer and you realize, oh, it's a bendy straw, and that's a plastic curler, and those are the soft drink cans. It intrigues you long enough to stay. And why would somebody spend all the time doing this? Maybe you touch on something or connect with somebody in some way. This infrastructure, it's what we inherited. We're the children of the '60s they were talking about. So how do we fix that? Well, how do we fix greed? And human heart. That's really the question. As an artist, you have choice. You can work in the light or work in the dark. You can work with clarity, or you can work with the confusion. What just be a mirror to that, and there's nothing wrong with that. Art's always had a place as a mirror to society and a mirror to what was going on. But there's also the art that I have lately especially strove to make, which is kind of taking it beyond that.